Mr. Andrew, find some way to keep Tufton in our cabinet. Because him not no more seat boy. So we better try some other way to keep him in our cabinet because we don't want him boy. More get that way, yeah. No more him. Any man you have and him not take care of your yard, a wicked man. You have to put him out. You can't keep a man like that in your yard. So me can tell Andrew say, Tufton yard, put him out. So them find some other way to keep him in our cabinet. Guys, on hope you keep him in our cabinet, you know. And we know them little trickery. So we're going to see what go on. I say nothing, make him comfortable, man. Make him comfortable.
And we don't want him a kitchen town.
Call him up.
Here we want him, not kitchen
General, I wish to take a tour around the community and let the world see what go on.
May I ask the Prime Minister himself, if we learn with Mr. Warmington for him 6 months on so because we don't have a MP and we don't have a councillor on now. We don't have nobody to represent we. So we ask the Prime Minister if he sends somebody to come represent we. Yes, so we ask if he could have learned with Mr. Warmington. Because to me, I want Mr. Warmington to see our work. You understand? So what I'm to run here, so? We don't see nothing go on around here, so. We don't see Mr. Tufton and come represent none of you them around here, so. And we have to mash up every day, see my go down there, so. From Monday, we go the MP say I come and I come and grind over here. They come up here, so come here what we are saying now. Some of them take private vehicle and go through, you know.
The road have a problem, we don't have no road. The road them in, we have a road them in a deplorable condition. Even the other day, I drive my taxi over there, so I come up and I stop in a hole along the side, the whole of my shocks pop off. Before that, my rack companion, before that, my control arm, so it's just and going on. We want some road, man, and a 3 days we depend on now. And Mr. Tufton I tell me, say, nah, come see we. Say, nah, come up here. And I represent me.
This is day 3 of the demonstration?
Yes, day 3.
We're not going to stop.
We not stop until he come to win, you know, just, you know. We get to understand, say, him have graded down a kissing tone. I know kissing tone we are talking about. We are talking about up a Pine Till here. Up a Southway place. Pine Till Mendes. You see me? You hold up the side, man. If you go up side, man, if you see you road them in a man. You not take a whole truck now and drive them in a man.
Yes, me a ride bicycle.
In addition to the road, what other issues are you having?
Water.
Water now there. We have amount of resources with water with place where they can get water from and nobody now give it. But right now we can't take time by local water, but you see the road, we want the road. We vehicle mash up.
Yes.
Almost 20,000 I pay for your shocks, you know.
One shot.
That time of whole weeks when me work, you know, because almost 20 miles I come for $250, you know. You see me? And nobody now compensate to rent and vehicle mash up. We need him to come adjust to make we know what I go on. He might tell me say now come up here, so he might come a station. We never give him vote down there, so when you want to vote, go down and some creases and wall. All people can walk, then lift out from them bed. We go get them votes. So what make them can't come now?
How early you came out this morning?
Early. As from after 5. About after Monday, then the time there. I will if I roll back to go and the police and clear them up in my bars. We tell you. And we not stop. We not stop. See there right now, I cook him and them cook over there, say we're serious. They not go in.
The National Works Agency says that some patching is supposed to start next week between Biles and Control here.
At the same time, no, Pine Till Mendes and them places. We not have no road. We don't have no road but my boss.
It's not wise to fix the road in a comprehensive way until you finish running the pipes. So what I've explained to them is that until we complete the piping, the road, has to be delayed, the repairs, the major repairs. Because let's face it, we have a tendency in this country where, unfortunately, agencies don't coordinate sufficient, and you fix a road and you dig it up to put a pipe. It's very inefficient. The road rarely is returned to its original state, and the first shower rain and water runoff creates manholes actually in the road and destroys the road. So the commitment was to do the piping and then do the road. Now the fact that the piping is taking place but delayed makes the road worse and you get the problems that you're facing. So what I've said to them is that we would I've asked the NWA, who was present at the meeting, to visit the areas that are worst affected, to give a preliminary estimate just for temporary work, where I would then make some representation to the NWA, to the responsible minister, and try to see if we can address some of those areas in a temporary way until the pipes are run, so we can do the major work that is coming but may not come immediately because of the piping that is taking place. So the residents, I think, the transport operators, I think, understood, even though they want the road to be dealt with. So we've agreed that I would wait on that information and a few days or so till maybe early next week to give them back some feedback on it. So in summary, there is a part of the road that is being dealt with from just above John's Road all the way through to Kojo's Hill, Copper Turn, which is a fairly lengthy piece and will address some of the challenges. The other parts from Back Pasture, Watermount, all the way through to Point Hill is affected partially by pipe laying, and in the meantime, however, we will try to see if we can address some of the worst areas while the pipe laying takes place, so that we can do an overall comprehensive overhauling of that, which would have been in the plans anyway. I understand the concerns of residents, don't get me wrong. It is difficult for the taxi drivers, for the van drivers, when you have to maneuver potholes and like to end up in a situation where car parts have to be replaced and it's expensive and so on. I don't agree with blocking of roads, and I don't respond to blocking of roads. The idea of cutting down the trees and so on is damaging from two perspectives. From an environmental perspective, it's not good. I don't like cutting down trees, and we shouldn't as a country. And then, of course, the blocking of the roads impedes persons from going about their regular business, whether to work, school, or play. The other negative impact of the withdrawal of the service over the last couple of days has been people who depend on the service to go to work and to school. There are other kids who can't go to school because of the withdrawal, and that unfortunately will have longer term impact. So what I've said to them is, maneuver as best as you can to support normality of living, schoolwork, transportation that is necessary, while we try to see how we can do a temporary fix on some of the worst areas. But the longer term fix has been in the making, has been in the plans, and will take place.
Is it that there's a communication problem between yourself and the residents that led to this particular action? With all that you have just outlined, the solutions that you have for the road.
Pipelines don't solve problems. Okay? So it's one thing to communicate the intentions to do until it is done, especially when people are inconvenienced, or worse, when it is a cost to them. It is very little comfort. The truth is that we had met before and explained what the circumstances were. But they want action and want it quickly. And while I empathize with the need for quick and urgent action, the reality is that I make representation. I can't make it happen on the timelines that they would like it to happen, as much as I understand their position. So it has to work its way through the process. Right now we're in a budget cycle. The last few months to March tend to be very limited in terms of resources. The budget is being read now, and then after the budget is read, then allocations are made to respective ministries to deal with these things. So in a sense, the timing is difficult based on just normal budgeting. But that can't be a sort of excuse to someone who wants their road fixed because the front end is being damaged every time they drive. So, I'm not one to be critical of people expressing themselves or their concerns. Never been like that. I understand that in a democracy, and I understand that as a representative. So I'm not criticizing the right to express a concern. I am critical of the way it is done because I think blocking the road is, well, it's not only it's illegal, but beyond that, it's not the right thing to do when other people have to move about. So I'm critical of that. And I regret that children and people who want to go to work can't get the means of public transport that they would need to go to work and school. So those things are concerning to me, but I fully appreciate the need to express yourself. And while I have expressed the concerns or the approach to dealing with it, I guess the position is that they need it done quicker.